The scent of vanilla candles hit me before I even reached the living room. I froze. That was not normal. Roy hated candles, said they made him sneeze. But there it was, a soft glow flickering through the hallway, and laughter. Familiar. Intimate. Female. I dropped my suitcase by the door. My hand shook as I turned the corner. Then I saw it. My husband, Roy, standing in front of our fireplace, in the very suit he wore at our wedding. And across from him, barefoot in my wedding dress, stood my younger sister, Victoria. He held her hands. She smiled like a bride. And the words that came next knocked the breath from my lungs. With this ring, I promise you forever. If she does not make it, I did not scream. I did not speak. I pulled out my phone. I hit record. And I captured every second of the wedding I was never supposed to witness, the one between my husband and my sister. They never even noticed me standing there. They were too busy sealing their promise with a kiss. Before I go any further, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. And if you are new here, welcome. I appreciate all my returning viewers, and especially those who are yet to hit that subscribe button. Please do. Your support is the fuel that powers this channel and helps me share stories like mine with others who may be suffering in silence. Do not forget to leave a comment and tell me your thoughts. Now, back to how my life unraveled. My name is Natalie. I am 36 years old, and I live in Indiana. For the past 6 years, I've been trying everything to become a mother. I went through hormone treatments, surgeries, miscarriages, and hospital visits that left my body weak and my soul even weaker. Roy, my husband of 9 years, always said he was by my side. But lately, I had begun to feel like I was the only one fighting. Victoria, my younger sister, was my emotional anchor. Or so I thought. She visited often. She brought food. She helped with errands. And she sat with Roy whenever I had to travel for appointments out of state. I never imagined I was handing him over. For Roy's 38th birthday, I planned a surprise weekend getaway to a resort in Canada. But in my rush, I left my passport at home. I turned around at the airport, frustrated but still smiling, hoping to surprise him in a different way. Instead, I walked into my own funeral, because that was what it felt like. A mock wedding, based on the assumption that I would not survive the next round of treatments. And there stood my sister, in my wedding dress, trying it on like she had just been waiting for her turn. I locked eyes with Roy before I walked out. He dropped her hand, but it was too late. The recording was already in the cloud, and I was already gone. I spent the night in a hotel 10 miles away. The room smelled like bleach and bad decisions. I sat on the edge of the bed, watching the video on loop, trying to make sense of what I had seen. It was not just the betrayal. It was the calmness, the romance. The way Victoria's eyes watered as Roy slipped that cheap silver ring onto her finger. That was the part that broke me. They were not ashamed. They were in love. And they had rehearsed it. The vows were not off the cuff. They were memorized, synchronized, like two actors in a play called Just in Case She Dies. At one point in the video, I heard my sister whisper, "If she does not survive this round, we deserve to be happy, Roy." And he nodded. He nodded. I curled into the corner of the room, knees to chest, and let out a sound I had never made before. It was not a cry. It was not a scream. It was something deeper, like my soul had finally split open. For 6 years, I had pumped chemicals into my body, endured needles and nightmares, just to give that man a child. And in the background, my sister had been trying on my life like a secondhand coat. I had ignored so many signs. The way Roy always seemed lighter when Victoria was around. The late-night texts she claimed were memes. The time I found one of her earrings under our couch. The lie they told me about her falling asleep during a movie. My stomach turned. I opened my laptop and went through Roy's old messages, the ones synced to my email from years ago. I found an archive folder he probably thought I had forgotten existed. In it were messages, some short, some long, all filled with timelines, fears, even future plans. One message from Victoria read, "If she does not make it through this next treatment, we go forward. We mourn. Then we move on together. I love you." Roy replied, "It is the only way we get to be happy without guilt. She will understand from the other side." From the other side. That was when I knew they were not just waiting for me to die. They were counting on it. I did not call them. I did not warn them. I uploaded the video to a private account. I posted it anonymously in a marriage support forum. And by morning, it had over 100,000 views. People were commenting, sharing, outraged. The wedding in my living room had gone viral. By the time Roy called me the next afternoon, he was no longer calm. He was panicked. "Natalie, what did you do?" I smiled for the first time in weeks. "I did what you never expected. I let the world see who you really are." By the end of the week, my inbox was flooded. Women, men, strangers, survivors. Thousands of comments poured in under the video. Some cried with me. Some shared their own stories. Some were furious enough to track down Roy's job, Victoria's social media, and even the church where we had originally said our vows. My husband, no, Roy, was publicly humiliated. My sister, Victoria, deleted every account she had ever created. I did not have to say a single word. The video spoke louder than I ever could. And yet, even then, Roy tried to contact me. First it was texts, then emails, then voicemails, each one more desperate than the last. "Natalie, you do not understand. It was never real. We were grieving, scared. I thought I was going to lose you." The worst one came 3 days later. A 5-minute voicemail where he sobbed into the phone, saying that he only agreed to the symbolic ceremony because Victoria convinced him it would bring closure if the treatments failed. Closure. That was what he called it. As if marrying my sister in front of a fireplace while I was fighting for my life was some form of emotional healing. Victoria finally sent me a letter. Handwritten. Pages filled with half-hearted explanations and twisted justifications. She said it started after my second miscarriage. That Roy had confided in her. That they had only kissed once at first. That she did not want to steal my life. Only be close to it. She ended it with, "I love you, but I love him too." I never wrote her back. Instead, I contacted a friend who worked on a podcast about surviving family betrayal. I shared my story from the hormone shots to the video going viral. I cried while recording, but by the time it aired, I felt lighter. I was not just a woman scorned. I was a woman reborn. People wrote to say my story gave them strength to leave toxic marriages, to speak out about abuse, to cut ties with manipulative family members. One woman said, "Your silence when you walked out of that room? That was power. You gave me permission to walk away too." That was the moment I knew I was not just surviving, I was healing. I moved out of Indiana 6 months later. Started fresh in Colorado. Different name on the lease. New job. New number. Same heart, but finally, it was beating for me. One day, I will become a mother. Not through pain. Not through desperation. But through strength. On my terms. Thank you for watching my story. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have ever felt betrayed by someone you trusted, I want to hear from you in the comments below. You are not alone.